because I think it is important that we talk about it because relationships and red flags, I think we oftentimes ignore those red flags in the beginning and we let them go on for so long. So, what do you define as what does a red flag look like to you? What is your definition of red
Um,
flag?
Let me first start off by saying that most red flags look like the flags at the circus, and they're welcoming, and they draw you in, and um, you start entertaining them
Mm-hmm.
um, when you shouldn't. A red flag to me looks like me having to express what doesn't feel right to me more than once.
Mm-hmm.
If I've told you what bothers me, what hurts me, or gets under my skin, and you continue to poke the bear, as they
Yeah,
say, that's a red flag for me.
yeah.
Um, there's so many of them. To be honest, we'd be talking for weeks. This would be a continuation of, and a lot of there are so many people that are so narcissistic that
True.
they hide the red flags very well. And you
Yeah,
don't see them until it's too late. Or
yeah,
you see them and choose to ignore them because you don't think they're that bad.
right. One other question is, which basically is this: have you ever seen the red flag and decided to ignore it because of you thought that it was like you recognized the pattern of what the person was doing or saying as, just a character flaw or whatever, or just something, that oh, that's just the way they are, because that's the famous line that you hear most people say, this is just how I am. And even, myself, I've said, hey, this is just how I am, as the younger version of myself. But as I begin to get older, it's one of those things where it's okay, yeah, that may be something that I need to work on. And so um recognizing those types of red flags, do you continue to ignore it or do you speak on it when you recognize what that person is doing?
And so for me, I married the red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everything that I know about this person, everything that was told to me about this person, two and two equal four. And I chose to see 35 for whatever reason. I did it anyway. I heard the Lord say, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it. And
Mm-hmm.
so at some point, the lessons come in like, okay, little dummy, let me show you what's getting ready to go down. And
What reasons do you have for actually ignoring those red flags when you saw them? Because it's something that made you say, you know what, I'm just going to ignore these red flags. Because that's something that we need to address as well. Like we see those signs and we ignore them. What do you think made you ignore the signs that you were given?
um, hearing my mom in the back of my mind saying that nobody will ever want you,
Mm-hmm.
your own biological mother didn't want you,
Mm-hmm.
and just going through that process of I told you so. I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I wrote it out for as long as I could
Mm-hmm.
until I got to a place where I was just like, this person may possibly kill me.
Okay.
And I need to reevaluate how I'm handling it. I mean,
Mhm.
it was never one of those things that happened and you could just ignore it, because we've had more bad times than we've had good times. Like, if I were to sit down and write out a list of good versus bad, the bad would outweigh the good by a long stretch. So,
Uh-huh.
um, just, I have had a tough go from the beginning.
Mhm.
Being adopted, being born with a disability, always being told that, you know, your parents didn't want you, being mistreated in foster care, then getting adopted, and then, just hearing things of that nature,
Mhm.
put me in a place of maybe she right. And so,
Right.
I'm like, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to accept. And
Mhm.
so I did for a while until I heard the Lord say, okay, that's enough.
Mhm.
You've endured too much. Like, it was so bad. Like, I remember our 12th year anniversary. Um,
Mhm.
I had a bad habit of putting like um little subtle things on Facebook. Like, for our 12th year anniversary, I posted 12 years a slave.
Mhm.
Only a few people got it. I mean, they knew what I was talking about or
Mhm.
whatever. Um, that's on me because I could have left sooner than I did. I stayed in it for 22
It's
years.
Angela said settling, like
I
settling
Yeah, I
life.
settled. I settled because
And
I didn't look at myself and feel like I deserved better. I felt
mhm.
like this one person is the only person who's gonna accept the fact that I have spinal bifida, hydrocephalus, and I got all of this stuff going on with my bladder, and these
Mhm.
headaches, and these nights where I don't go to sleep, and days where I sleep days on end without waking
Mhm.
up because of the hydrocephalus.
Yeah.
Um, until I heard him say that had he known that I had all of that going on, that he never would have married me to start with. So,
Mhm.
um, I,
And
I I guess I just tried to pretty up my dark space.
yeah. And I think that happens to a lot of us, which is why part of the reasons why we ignore those red signs is also if we don't feel good about ourselves, we settle for what's available to us because we've been beaten down so much that our self-esteem is low and we don't think much of ourselves. And so we settle for where we are because we feel like that's all that we can get because we've been told for so long that this is it. This is all we're
Mhm.
ever going to get. No one else is going to want us, desire us, or ever, give us more than what we give ourselves. And so until we start to recognize that we are more than what it is and we have value and we look outside of someone else and start to look within, then we can start to see the red flags for exactly what they are and move away from that because when you know that you are worthy of more then you seek more and you won't settle for less. And that's one of the things that I can say when I um left my relationship, my marriage. um I did that self inventory that I talk a lot about. And when I started doing that self inventory, like my relationship, like we were together from teenagers.
Mhm.
And the red flags that I ignored was, especially after like going into the marriage, I ignored the selfishness. And it was you're selfish in the sense of you only are thinking about what you want. not as us as a whole, as a family unit. As
Right.
before, it was us, but then as the responsibilities as a family unit started to grow, it was more about just him. And then it was like, okay, but I'm thinking about us as a whole. And when 2005 came, it's like, dude, I'm still thinking about us. And I went to him and I realized, I'm like, hey, listen, I can tell that you're struggling. I can tell, we've been together so long. Here is an opportunity for you to go out and do what you need to do. Because we've been together so long. This is my and I know it sounds crazy, but this is where I was because I wanted my relationship to work. And I wanted
Right.
my family because I grew up without my dad and my mom. So I wanted my children to have something that I didn't have. So I was trying
Right.
to make the relationship, the marriage work because we were friends first. And I was banking on the friendship, you know. And so I was like, okay, if you need to go out, do what you need to do, find yourself and all of that. If you can do that, just know that I'm still going to be here because I don't have a desire to club. I don't have a desire to be out in the world. That ain't my
Right.
desire. That's never who I've been. My focus is on my family, my children, to make sure that they're safe, they're happy because of my childhood, not having my mama, not having my daddy. I always wanted to be the parent that I did not have. So that's always been my desire and my focus. And so with me focusing on that, that's what my desire was. So I'm telling him, this is your way to go and do what you need to do. But if you're not going to take this out, I need you to plug into this family. I need you to do what is necessary, to lead this family, to do what is necessary. But if you're not going to do that, then let me know. And you would have thought he would have probably taken that. But no, he didn't. And then it ended up being he put us in a situation where we did not have any hot water. We did not have I'm boiling water for the children and myself to take a bath. He getting up every morning to go to his mama's house to take a shower. Never once did he say, hey, V, pack the kids up and let's go to mama's house and we all, bathe and, do what we need to do so that we all can collectively do this. No,
Right.
it's him, and I'm like, I shouldn't have to do this if you're my partner. And then not only that, he lied to my dad about the bill being taken care of because it was gas at that time. And he lied to my father about it. And it's like, you lied and then you're not taking care of the rent. Then you lied about that. So then it's like on top of that, we're about to be evicted and you still lying and it's putting the welfare of the children in jeopardy. So now I have no other choice but to tell you that I gotta go because you're not thinking of us as a collective. It's about you. And then when I made that decision to leave in 2007, when I moved and I'm out there, the first thing that he does is try to use our oldest child to allow me to tell him that it's okay for him to move in with us. No, we would not even be in this position had you not done what you did to cause the whole situation in the first place. So if I
Right.
take you back after praying and asking God to get me out of this situation, because I prayed and asked God if this was where if he wanted me out of this situation, he was gonna have to make a way for me to get out because I didn't have a way. I didn't know what I was gonna do. So God provided everything that I needed to get out of that situation. So I would be crazy, and that would be a slap in God's face to go turn around and bring this man right back into my life. And so you can't come here. And so in that moment, it was like, okay, now I have to do some work on me. I have to figure out what my issues are. So I had to do the inventory for myself to figure out what was broken in me so that I could not bring the old baggage into any new relationship that I had. Now,
Right.
did I bring some old baggage into some new relationships? Yes, I did. Because I was bringing old baggage because it's like I still didn't trust a man. I didn't trust anybody in the sense of you telling me one thing but you doing something different. So I'm recognizing the patterns of what you saying, but I'm also watching what you doing. So you showing me the same thing that he showed me. So you ain't answering your phone. Yeah, you busy, you working, but I also know that if you can make time for certain things, you can make time if it's important to you. So if I'm not important to you, you're not gonna put that forth, that effort in me. But if I can make the time to be available to you, I feel like you can adjust and do the same thing for me. And so I ignored some of those red flags because I felt like, hey, you doing this over here. I get that you busy. Hey, I'm gonna excuse that and I'm gonna, try to make it work. But then it got to be okay, you know what? I can't ignore this no more because now you're being intentional. You giving me little sips of water and I'm dying of thirst over here. But if you are thirsty and I'm giving you the whole cup and you giving me a sip, you don't care that I'm thirsty, but I'm making sure that you are fully drenched. Baby, let me go on and go on over here because it ain't no need for me to be over here dying of thirst and you fully saturated. You ain't trying to
Right.
give me nothing. So let
Right.
me just move on and not feel guilty. And that was one of the things that I had to learn. I don't need to feel guilty because you already showed me you didn't care. So
Yeah.
learning to move on without feeling guilty, that was a hard thing in the beginning, is understanding that it's okay to move on and not feel guilty for moving on. Because I think that's another reason why we ignore those red flags because we feel guilty because we see potential in people and we want to see the best in them. So we stick around a little longer because we see those good things in them. We know that they have good potential, they have good, good qualities and things of that nature. And we want to see them prosper. But at the
Yeah.
same time, they breaking us down. But we allowing them to break us while they're being built for somebody else, and we don't get to see the healed version, but we can't be broken in the midst of them being healed. And that's one of the things that we have to understand. We don't want to do the mending for someone else if they're
Right.
not going to help us mend and we mend together, you know. And I've had to learn that. I don't want to be mending all by myself. And I've had to unlearn some unhealthy things in these relationships. you know,
Erica Campbell said it best. I can't fix you because I'm trying to fix me.
right.
Um, and my thing has always been, um, I'm a giver.
Mhm.
That's who I am. That's what I
Yeah.
do. That's who I've always been, and that's who I will always be. But the thing of it is now knowing who to give to and who
Yeah.
not to
Yeah.
makes the difference because everybody that you're trying to help don't really want your
So
help.
now, yeah, some people don't want
Or
your help.
and some people look at you like a lick, like a come up, and
Yeah.
they use you for as long as you're usable,
You're
and
willing
then when
to,
you're
yeah.
not, they move to the next person or whatever. My thing with my marriage was, um all the older people in my family stayed
Mhm.
no matter what it looked
And
like.
I think that's a different day and time too, because a lot of
Right.
them back then, that was all they knew, and they just knew to stay and stick it out. They didn't. It wasn't a lot of divorce rates, and they
Right.
did a lot of forgiving. And I understand having forgiveness and giving grace and things of that nature, but there are some things that you just can't extend. You can only extend so much grace. I am not God. I can't extend that much grace, and I can't
Right.
give that much, because if I'm giving you too much, then what is the grace for me?
Right.
Because you don't walked all over me, and I ain't even got a backbone to stand up on anymore, because you don't broke everything in me, and now I ain't got nothing left. How
Right.
much more or am I gonna let you take? How many more pieces of me can I give you? And you still got your hand out, and you have depleted everything from me, but yet you don't have nothing to give me in return. And
Right.
that's not fair, but I think that keeps us stuck in those relationships. And I think the older family members that stayed in those relationships, and some were good and happy, and they really withstood the test of times. And that's not saying that
They didn't go through
they didn't
something,
they
and
didn't yeah, they didn't
yeah.
go through something, but they learned how to communicate with each other. They
Right.
knew they were not going to be those same individuals that they were when they met at 15 and 16 years old. They knew that they were going to change, and they allowed each other that space to change into those individuals that they did become as they got older. And I think that's part of another reason why those relationships did, the healthy ones, did last as long as they have. Um, because they allowed each other that space to grow and become the individual. But you got some of those relationships, and some now that they don't have the space to be an individual outside of
Right.
each other. They're so together that they don't have a life outside of one another, that they can't function without each other. And so they lose identity of who they once were. Because I can honestly say that was another thing when I left my marriage. I had to find myself all over again, because I didn't know who I was. Like, I did not know. I was a wife and I was a mother, and that was it. I didn't know who Triveda was anymore. And so I had to slowly get back to who she was. And Aletha says we fight for things we missed in our adolescence, also accepting the trauma because it becomes part. Yeah, and
Yeah.
our past can play a major part in why we accept those red flags, because we carry that trauma with us. That's like the baggage that I was talking about. The baggage is what we bring with us. Like, you may have ended a relationship. Let's say my relationship was 13 years. I had
Hmm.
4 bags of luggage that I ended that relationship with. Now I got them 4 bags. I don't take time to unpack those 4 bags, but I start a new relationship with somebody. So I got 4 bags that I've yet to unpack. I don't started this new relationship. This new relationship lasts maybe 1 or 2 years. Now, whatever issues that happen in this relationship that I don't talk about, but I end up with some issue and some trauma from that, whether it's lack of communication, lack of affection, or whatever. Now I don't got 2 more suitcases. So now I got 6 bags that I'm carrying with me that I have yet to unpack. So now it's more baggage that's piled on to this next new relationship that I go into. So now I got to figure out, am I going to ever unpack the first 4, so that I can even have a good, healthy relationship? And no, it's always, well, this is just how I am. No, this ain't just how you are. If you want better, you got to start unpacking half of that stuff, because these people did not cut you. So it ain't no reason for you to be bleeding all over them. So you got to start unpacking half of that stuff, half of that trauma, so that you can truly heal and see and recognize these patterns and these red flags as they come. And also when you end in one relationship, you got to take the time out to be by yourself so that you can understand who you are, and being in that space in that time to identify who you are. Because trying to go into something else while you ain't even unpacked that baggage from the last relationship, you got 6 bags now you don't carry. So you got to take that time to unpack that baggage so that you can spend that time getting to know yourself, getting to know God a little bit more so that you can hear him clearly. So when he tell you, hey, I ain't tell you nothing about this fool over here, so you don't went over there and signed up for something I didn't tell you to sign up for. So now you
Right.
don't equip yourself, don't tie yourself to somebody I didn't even send your way. You just he told you, hey baby, you looking real nice today. He telling you all these sweet nothings, and now you don't fell head over heels thinking he the right one for you, and he ain't did not a doggone thing for you, but told you you look good in that sundress you had on. That's all the man said to you. He ain't did nothing to you. He ain't even offered you a prayer at all. But you like this the one for me. God sent him. God ain't sent nobody. God ain't even sent an email, a fax, or nothing. But you over there thinking that this is
Preach,
the one. He
preach.
ain't did none of that. And you don't fail for it. And then when it don't work, now you don't got a whole nother suitcase. So now you got 8 bags because you didn't take the time out. So now you got 8 bags because you ain't stopped to unpack nothing. So what
Yeah.
we gonna do? We got to sit and unpack some of this stuff. We got to say, hey, listen, what are we going to do? Because if we keep ignoring these red flags, we going to keep repeating the cycle. We going to keep walking into the same relationship with these different men just because they got different faces. And different faces, they doing different things. And yeah, this one might treat you right, pay all your bills. But then he over here talking to Tammy and Sally too, and you don't even know about Tammy and Sally until you see Tammy and Sally at the store, and she like, "Hey, you talking to my man over here?" And it's
Right.
like, okay, baby, I didn't know he was talking to you. I don't know nothing about this. You got a whole Shirley and Barbara situation going on. And it's like, what is we doing? You
Right.
know? So it's all of that. And then you got the ones that be like, well, it's a 50-50 situation. And if that works for you, baby, that's great. But y'all, we got to have these conversations in the beginning. And a lot of times we don't like to ask these questions because we don't want to be offended, because we don't want to run these people away. But if you start being upfront and honest about what your expectations are, you won't be so surprised and shocked, because unexpected communications leads to unexpected foolishness. Uncommunicated expectations, you get what you asking for, which is absolutely nothing,
Nothing.
because you didn't ask for nothing. You wasn't clear on what your expectations were. You just assumed that they were going to get it right, but you never told them what you was expecting. You never asked them what you never told them what you were looking for. You never told them what you were willing to negotiate, what you were willing to compromise on. You never said any of those things. You just assumed that they were going to know exactly what it was. And so since you assumed, you got what you was assuming, which was nothing. And now you
Diddy
gonna tell me,
asks, Diddy asks, how do we heal from those things?
hey, first we gotta acknowledge them.
Yeah.
You can't heal from nothing you don't acknowledge. That's one of the things that we sit here and we say, hey, I'm ready to heal, but then we run from acknowledging what we need to heal from. You got to first name what it is you need to heal from. When you put a name to it and start speaking on it, you can start the healing process. But you can't run from it if you don't even acknowledge what it is you need to heal from. You also,
Also, you can't make excuses for it either. You
right.
can't you can't see something that's wrong and say, well, you know, I want to do it this way because I know it'll work in the long run. Um,
Yeah.
it don't work like that. It
And you
don't.
can't be lying to yourself. That's
Right.
that's the thing. You can't tell yourself no lie. And don't be giving yourself no false hope. And like don't be selling no no don't sell no wolf tickets. Don't be selling no fairy tale stories.
Right.
Be real and honest with yourself. If you know you ain't got yourself together, be honest. Tell them that you still working on yourself, that you still a work in progress, because we all are still a work in progress. When you know what your flaws are, be upfront and honest with them. Like mine is like I'm not good with no, there ain't no timetable
Mm-mm.
on that. Healing is a day by day, moment by moment thing. You
And person
heal,
by person.
yeah, and what you need to work on is what you need to work on. That's your personal thing, and you and God will figure that out when it's your time. The one thing I think most of us do. We do lie to ourselves and think, I'm good. I don't need to work on this until a situation arises,
Mhm.
and then we like, God, dog, I thought I had healed on. I had moved on from that, and then you find yourself in a situation where you have not quite healed from that, and your partner may not even know that you had a trauma in a certain situation. It could be something as simple as them raising their voice at you in a different tone that you're unfamiliar with them using. And you didn't know, and they didn't know. And so now you don't shut down and you ain't talking to them, and they don't know why you not talking to them, but you
They
didn't
don't
come.
know what
Yeah,
what
yeah,
triggered you.
you didn't communicate that you don't like raised tones. Like you didn't say that to them. So they don't know. Like my
Mhm.
thing is I'm still learning how to communicate in a way that's like I'm a direct communicator,
Mhm.
but at the same time, sometimes I can be a little too direct. And I'm not sure on how to dial it back. So I'm working on that. And it ain't easy. I will say that.
And
Cause you know me.
I'm working on taking everything to heart. I take everything at face value, and if it hurts my feelings, it hurts my feelings. And I have to learn that everything isn't a jab at me.
Yeah.
Everything that's being said, some things are being said out of love, and I choose to take it the wrong way, indirectly because of past things that have been said to me that I
Yeah.
guess coincide with what's being said now, but
Yeah.
said in a different way. But now I look at love and things totally different now. Like don't talk me to death. Don't just tell me you love me. Show me. Show me.
Don't
And it's
insult
not
me
it's
with
not
words.
it's not about gift giving because somebody can buy you gifts and I went through this. Somebody can buy you gifts and still kick your tail.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean anything. It's not I'm sorry. It's not um
Mm-hmm.
it won't happen again. It's just a piece of jewelry to
Yeah.
I guess as a bandage.
Sorry means nothing without change behavior.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I sorry, and I'm good to say sorry. I didn't do what you did. So
Right.
now save your sorry for somebody who cares,
Right.
because you meant what you did. You meant what you
You
said.
said what you
Sorry did
said.
not. Yeah. You unless you change your behavior, you meant exactly what you did. You said what you said. You did what you did, and
I
I'm gonna
stand
take it how.
firmly.
Yeah.
I
I take
stand
that how it
firmly.
is.
I stand firmly on if you thought it and you said it, you meant it.
Mm-hmm.
A
And
lot of
see, I'm
people,
not there with that joking stuff. I was just joking. Nah.
you meant that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and see that people are like and that's why I have a limited number of friends, because I'm quick to cut you off in a heartbeat. I was just joking. Well, you can joke with somebody else, because baby, that was not a joke. That was intentional. You meant everything you were saying in that moment. And now I can take a joke just like the next person, but when you jabbing, I know that that was a jab. Like I know shade when I hear it. You
Yeah.
know, certain things is just not shade. You know,
Learn how to read the room early.
and sometimes, I take the shade because sometimes I may have needed the shelter. But at the same time, best believe I know how to deal with you in the future.
Right.
And I'm gonna take that shade sometimes because I may have needed that shelter. But trust and believe you won't get the same me the next time we interact with each other. I've
And then
learned that.
there's also red flags in friendships
Yeah.
that go unseen.
Hmm. And
Example
unchecked a lot of times too.
example, when my mom died, I reached out to somebody that I've known my entire life and told
Mm.
them my mom died, and all they said was okay.
Okay.
Okay. No, you have my
No
condolences,
condolences.
you know, all they said was okay. And I had to roll with it because I'm like, oh, that's how you view me. So I know where we stand. Like
Yeah.
I I I don't take well to jokes too much.
Mhm.
And my mama used to really ride me about that. Lighten up. It's just a joke. Everything is not just a joke. I mean, like there's some truth in every hee hee ha ha. And so I
And you can tell when they are sincere jokes because
right.
I'm a goofball, but at the same time, there's just certain things that I do not joke about.
Right.
And
Me too.
you can tell when a person is sincere and when it's a time to joke and it's a time to play and that kind of thing. And it's just like, okay, you was not joking when you said that. And I'm big on catching things that are meant to be a jab, so to speak. And so when it's meant to be a jab, or either, well, I didn't mean it that way, you took it the wrong way. Especially like, because people like they'll text something, and then they'll be like, well, I didn't mean it that way. No, 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 no. I read it the way that you sent it. And the way that you sent it is the way that you meant it. That's why it's like, if you didn't mean it that way, baby, you should have called me and told me. That way I could have heard it. But it's
Yeah.
still where you still saying it still sounds the way that I read it. So either way, you said it and I read it the same way that you meant it. So it's not changing anything. You just didn't think that I was gonna catch it the way that you said it. You
Or
typed
respond
the
to
same,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
I was gonna dismiss it, and I'm not. I'm calling you on it right now because that's what you meant. And if I let it slide once, you think I'm gonna let it slide again. Because if you did it once, you'll do it twice. And if I don't catch you now, then we gonna be sitting here and you gonna be thinking you can do this again.
30 years from now, still
Yeah,
doing the same
we
jabs.
not gonna do that. Cause we finna have this conversation and we finna talk about it right here and right now, because if I let you slide once, you gonna think you can ice skate the next time. And then you gonna be ice skating and skiing and doing all kinds of things and backflips and all this. We ain't finna have none of that. So let me go ahead and tell you how you made me feel in this. And like I had somebody one time, they had said that they were praying for me. But the
Mhm.
way that they put praying was Prey.
EY. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then I was like, and me, I called. I said, you got something against me? Well, you knew what I meant. If I knew exactly what you meant, I wouldn't have called you. I said, because there are two ways I can look at this. I said, so either you got something against me, are you really not trying to pray for me? You praying upon me.
Homie.
So if
Right.
that's what you're trying to do, then we need to go ahead and cut this off. And I need you to go your way and I'm gonna go mine. And then they were like, "You just acting like the devil." I said, "Okay, see that there we go. Let me go
Right.
ahead and cut you off because you intentionally meant what you did. Yeah, I'm not gonna play this game with you because you did that and you thought I wasn't gonna catch you. You thought I'm gonna be sitting here playing this game, baby. You meant to text me what you text me. And you thought I wasn't gonna catch it and I was just gonna brush it off to the side. No, you text that because you thought I wasn't gonna catch it. No, I called you to get the right implication and you answered the way I needed you to answer. So baby, we done. We ain't got to talk no more. You go on and do what you need to do. Since you think I'm the devil, go on and
Right.
associate with whoever you need to. Because the devil ain't over here, but he was with you. So go on, mind your business, but don't come back over here. Then had the nerve to try to show up in my house like we finna have a conversation. Boy, go on about your business. Don't come over here. Uh,
Wow.
go on. Cause
And
you
see,
told your
my
true face.
biggest flaw is accepting apologies for the same behavior.
Oh, see,
Like
yeah, you do that.
I do, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn from that, but I
You,
do
you, you do be so forgiving, and I'll be like, girl,
and I don't know where it comes from because
you, and I'll be like, you know better. And I just
and
be
I
looking at
do, that's the thing, I do know better, but I let a lot slide just for the sake of argument. I don't like to tussle with nobody,
you.
and
Yeah, I know you don't like confrontation, and
I
I can't
don't.
say I'm that. I can't say I'm that
I
person.
mean,
I don't like confrontation either, but at the same time, you ain't finna walk all over me. Number
right.
one, I ain't before eight. And so people tend to think that they finna walk all over me because I ain't before eight. But I have to quickly nip that in the bud. First off, now, I might be small, but baby, you not finna walk all over me. We not, nah. You ain't finna do that because I'm small in stature in real life. So we got to establish some boundaries right here and real quick. Because if I let you walk all over me like this, it's gonna be a whole problem. So
I had on
Mm-mm.
a t-shirt earlier today that says, "I'm 5'3", but my attitude is 6'2".
Oh, see, I need one of them.
I
But
stand
I need mine to say 4'8" and I'm 7 feet tall.
that part.
Yeah. Yeah. I need that. I'm gonna need me a shirt like that because honey, but for a long time, I did not speak up for myself a lot because I didn't want nobody. I didn't like confrontation either. But
Yeah,
when I realized people were big on, talking to me crazy and just saying whatever, it was one of those things where it was like, okay, either you're going to start standing up for yourself. And I think it mostly happened after I had my stroke, honestly, because before then, honey, now you weren't gonna talk to me too crazy. But
right.
I think more so after my stroke, I really became a whole lot more vocal because once I realized stress is what caused my stroke,
Mhm.
I ain't holding on to this. I ain't got to take this. So I ain't
I
got to,
think that's what caused my heart attack last year, just
yeah. So
holding stuff in and letting stuff slide and
yeah, and see, you can't do that because it will take a toll on you physically. You have
yeah,
got to let that stuff go. And if you holding on to that, carrying that around with you and everything, it's going to eat at you and it's going to take a toll on you physically. So you have got to release that stuff. Carrying
right,
that, holding on to it, doing all of that stuff, you have got to let it go because it's not healthy for you in any capacity. You have got to let it go. You have got to say, hey, either you or me. And I choose me.
right.
And, you know, letting go, recognizing the red flags in these relationships, you cannot ignore them at the sake of keeping somebody in your space, keeping somebody
Right.
in your life. You have got to know when it's time to let them go. You know,
Gotta
God,
know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
yes, because you will end up. causing yourself so much harm. God
Mhm.
is telling you to let these people go, and you sitting up here wondering why you keep going through so much hell and turmoil, and God is like, let go. I have told you to let go, and you keep holding on.
Holding on.
Yeah, like you gotta let it go. If I'm telling you to let it go, that means I got something greater for you. It may not come while you're still holding on to this, but if you want to hold on to it, then guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna continue to suffer until you let it go. So you
Mhm.
got all of these wounds, all of these open sores, all of these cuts and bruises and everything because you will not let go. You got to let go so God can help you with that healing process, help you with that journey of healing and becoming who you were destined to be, and letting go of that trauma, letting go and unpacking those suitcases so that you become a lighter, more healthier version, so that your husband or your wife can find you like they're supposed to. But they
Right.
can't find you if you won't even let go of all of that baggage that you've been holding on to. Like, you keep hollering, this is just how I am. But you change to get a job, you learn new skills to get a job, you learn new skills to start a business, you learn all of these new things to better yourself in that aspects. But when it comes to a relationship, you don't want to unlearn nothing. You just want to
Right.
stick to this is just how I am, take it or leave it. And then get mad when the person say, well, I'm gonna leave it. What you
Right.
getting
Right.
mad
Right.
for? This is what you asked for. You said
Mm.
take it or leave it, and they decided to leave it because they didn't want to deal with that headache or that hassle. They said, I'm gonna leave it where it's at because it's not gonna cause me no more headache and no pain. I can deal with my own mess by myself. So if you don't want to deal with your mess, why do I have to suffer and deal with your mess? If you don't
Right.
want to unpack nothing. Now, there are some people who are willing to help you unpack because they want to heal too. But you got
Right.
to know who's worthy of helping you unpack. But you don't want somebody unpacking your suitcase and then they putting their stuff in your suitcase.
Right.
Like you lightening your load, but then they taking their stuff out their suitcase and putting it in your suitcase. So now
Mhm.
you don't picked up their traumas. You don't picked up their stuff. And you like, no, 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 baby, you gonna put that over there in the trash. That's got to go to the garbage. That's got to go to the landfill. We
Aisle
not taking this
13.
back with us.
Right.
Like, if we unpacking all of this and we ain't taking it nowhere else, it's got to go all the way out. So you got to know that if somebody is willing to see that, and be honest with people and tell them, hey, look, this is where I'm at in my life, this is my trauma, this is what I'm dealing with. I ain't all the way healed. I done been in some domestic violence situations. I've been hurt. I've been traumatized, and I'm not all the way there yet. But if you're willing to be patient with me and help me through this, and whatever you've been through, I can help you through that, and we can love each other through this. And if I'm having a moment and if I'm struggling with something, help me through it. Show me how to get to where you are. Love me through it. And if you're willing to love me through it, I can love you through where you are, and we can grow and build together. But if you going tear me down like I've already been torn, baby, we got to go. We ain't no need for us to even start nothing here.
And when you find something genuine, you know it because of every bad
Sometimes you
thing.
know it, sometimes you don't.
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't.
but sometimes it's like it's different from everything that you've gone through. It can be
Hmm.
scary. It can be
Yeah.
scary. Like current situation for me, um, I found someone and he loves the meat off my bones, and it's scary because
Hmm.
I've never had that. And then his parents are so welcoming, and his mom is just
Yeah.
she's these knees. And when you go from now, my ex mother in law, I learned a lot from her. She taught me a
Hmm.
lot, a whole lot, things that my mom didn't teach me. So, I can never say anything bad about her ever. But the object of it is to level up.
Mhm. But you can still have somebody that's genuine and not recognize them when you have them. And I'm a prime example of that because when me and my fiance now, we
Mm,
met in 2016 and I ran him away. I did. And it was because I was still unhealed.
right,
And me being unhealed, I couldn't see him for the man he is and the man he was. And it's like, and where we are now, it's like, okay, there's not much difference, but the difference is I'm in a more healed space so I can
so you can
recognize
recognize. Yep,
what he was doing the first time is the same thing that he's been doing now, and I'm receptive. Now, was I, and I still haven't been always as receptive because I'm still learning, you
right,
know. Like I said, I'm unlearning things that I had used to survive, and I've
right,
been so independent my whole life that I've solely been dependent on me, and that's it. And so now I have somebody, hey, listen, today was a hard day. I don't know, how to do this. I don't know what to do with this. And then I got somebody I mentioned something to, and it's already taken care of. And I'm like, I wasn't really asking you to do that. And he's like, yeah, I know you wasn't, but it's taken care of,
yeah,
so having that has been a difference, and I'm still learning how to accept that. And it's new and it's different, so you can still have somebody and not recognize it. And
right.
also it can be presented in a way that it all looks fine until something happens, and it's like, where the hell this fool come
Right,
from?
right,
Like,
right.
that still can happen. So you still have to pray and ask God for discernment and ask Him to prepare yourself and prepare your heart for the person that He has created for you, and that
Yep,
you guys meet in the space in which He has for you. And so I always pray and I ask God to make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to do according to His will for us.
right,
So that's been, um because my prayer was, if I've already met my husband and I ran him away, please send him back. Because the thing of it is, when you're broken and unhealed, you don't know what you're doing because you're broken and unhealed. And
right,
so you have to work on healing. You have to work on those things. And so when you start to recognize those broken pieces of yourself, you tend to go through what you need to heal and get those things
metamorph
together. And yeah, and so you start to recognize what your own flaws are and where you need to work and what you can express to your partner. Hey, look, I'm still a work in progress. This is my issue, and I struggle with this right here. Like I tell him all the time, I struggle with asking for help. I'm not good with that. So if I'm telling you or if I'm frustrated, understand that it has nothing to do with you. If I'm telling you what's going on, this is my frustration, this is what I'm dealing with. And if you can see a need or ease it in any capacity, I'm not going to ask you. But if you feel like you can help, then help. If you can't, oh well. But if
right,
I'm frustrated, don't take it personal. I'm just used to figuring it out myself. And if I say, hey, I got it, I'm going to figure it out, then let me do that. But I don't need you trying to force your way in to try to overstep because I'm
right,
not used to that. And that may piss me off because you trying to overstep in something that I'm not used to. anybody doing for me. And so being able to communicate that has been, a growing space for me. So, we're gonna have to do a part two of this. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
know, we're gonna have to do that. Hold on, Lord, I gotta charge this laptop. But I got the charger right here because it'll say charge. Okay, there we go. But we're definitely gonna have to do a part two of this because this was an interesting conversation. But relationships and having a healthy relationship is important to lasting relationships. And
Absolutely.
um we'll probably not talk about red flags, but what to do when you enter into a healthy
A new
relationship and
relationship.
how to continue to stay on that path, because when you are in something that's good and it feels good and you grow, number one thing I say is keeping God included from the beginning
Absolutely.
and making sure that you have a prayer life, not just with your partner, but with God Himself. Because if you have that foundation individually and then you have it together collectively, and if you go to God when you're having problems as individuals and as a couple, it builds that foundation, and no outsider will ever be able to penetrate, because the devil hates union. He hates
Yeah,
union. And so if he can always infiltrate that union, he's going to do whatever he can to break that up. So you have to have that united front. So, stay in and keep God included. That's all I'm going to say.
absolutely.
Keep God
Absolutely. 'Cause I mean,
and
without it, you have nothing.
yeah, like you got to keep God included from start until the day you go back to see him,
Right,
Keep God included, make sure that he's the foundation and the coverage and the protection of all. And if you ain't got people that's praying for your relationship, make sure you ain't got nobody praying against it. Keep them heathens and them fools away from it, because everybody ain't happy for you, and know that, you know
right.
because misery loves company, honey. It's gonna
Absolutely.
do that in a hurry. Like if they can have misery at more than anything, they gonna do that, because people hate to see other people happy for some reason, and I don't understand that. If
Me
I'm
either.
happy, I want you to be happy too. If I got a candle, I want you to be lit too. So if I can pass you my light, baby, let's light it up. Let's do it together.
Right,
Let's do this, let's shine, let's grow, let's do that. But I don't want to dim no light, I don't want none of that. Let's continue to shine and do this. So we'll do this again, and I want to thank you for being here with me tonight. you know
absolutely. Always.
yeah, like we gonna have to do this again. My next show is going to be on Thursday the 23rd. I am going to have Miss Aletha Robinson, and we're going to be talking about her book. It's the 90-day CEO, the Mind Shift, and she has an event
Mm.
up in Columbia, I Am Becoming. And so we're going to be talking to her about her book that I have helped her get published and everything. So
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, so we're gonna be talking to her. I had another guest that was supposed to be scheduled, but honey, you know how I am. If you move too slow, you move your chance, and I move right on next to the next person. And so Alita is my person. And so, baby, we're gonna be talking to her, and it's going to be a wonderful conversation because she is amazing, and she has this event coming up, I Am Becoming, and it is in Columbia, South Carolina. And so she is she's amazing. So if you're able to get to Columbia May the 16th to I Am Becoming, please check this out. Her information is shared on my page. It is also on her page, Aletha Robinson. So please check her out. But yeah. I Am Becoming May the 16th. Her book is coming out May the 16th as well. So check her out. But, you know, business, the only thing he needs you to do is be obedient to what he's called you to do. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Good night.
Night.